Well, hello, everybody. How are you doing today? I certainly hope that each and every one of you are doing all right. And I tell you what, I'm doing pretty good myself. Trying to make it. First, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to each and every one of you out there for being gracious enough to tune in to me. I really do appreciate it. And I would like to welcome all of you to another episode of TJ's Topics. I tell you, I'm just truly honored and delighted to have you here. I consider it a joy, an honor, and the privilege to be able to come into your presence on any given occasion. Now, I'm going to start by saying that we are in the month of May. Can you believe it? May is here. And I tell you, I am so excited about that. It is really fascinating to be in the fifth month of the year. Oh my goodness. And, you know, May is chock full of fun and activities from field day on hundreds of school campuses throughout the country to high school graduations. You have college graduations, preschool and kindergarten graduations. You have Mother's Day, of course, and Memorial Day, which ushers in the unofficial beginning of summer. So, I mean, May is full of stuff. And May tends to be the month when people seem to need a lot of things too. They need, um, to make preparations for travel, vacations and things like that. They need to, go to the beauty shop, the barber shop. They need to get their cars serviced, get them ready for the highway to hit the road, take a trip or something. Or, they need all sorts of things. And then you have those who need to learn how to stay out of people's business. Now, that's always a need right there. So that's what I'm talking about today. My topic is every need is not really a need. That's what we're talking about. Every need is not really a need. Now, why would I say that? Because, you have a lot of folks out here who just love to bombard you, talking about they need this and they need that. Now, true enough, it may be a need to some of them, but it's not necessarily a need to all of us. Because look, it doesn't have anything to do with us. Now, I'm gonna give you an example. Years ago, when I was working at a law firm in downtown Memphis, I used to have multiple encounters with panhandlers. They would always come up to me talking about they need some money to get a can of beer or, or something. It would always just little stupid stuff. And me being the person that I was, I would go ahead on and give them a couple of dollars so they can go get them a can of beer, get a cigarette or whatever they were trying to get so they can get on out of my face because I didn't feel like being bothered with them because I was trying to do my work. But to them, it was considered a need. But to me, I didn't see that as being a need. That was just something they wanted, and I tell you. But there are a lot of things out here that people think they need, but they really don't. Another good example is, I look at the people who get food stamps, and we know there are a lot of people out here who get food stamps. And you look at what they have in their shopping carts. What do they have in their shopping carts most of the time? A whole buttload of junk food, potato chips, cookies, cakes and pies and a bunch of cold cuts, hot dogs and hot pockets and those ramen noodles, and I mean just a bunch of stuff, little TV dinners and the little pizzas, little pizzas you can put in the microwave or little stuff. I mean, things that are oftentimes loaded with salt and sugar, fat, and little to no nutritious value to them. But they considered those things, those particular items, as needs. Sodas. We know sodas are full of sugar. Yeah, they're good, but but they got a lot of sugar. And then fast food. That's not a need. That's just a want. So I'm here to tell you, every need is not really a need. And let's talk about relationships for a moment. There may be people out here who get involved with somebody in a relationship. They think that they need that person, but they really don't, because all that individual is going to do is pull them down. If you're already at the bottom, you don't need anybody who's going to help you stay on the bottom. You need somebody who's going to help lift you up if possible. But some people will settle for anything just for the sake of saying that they're in a relationship, that they got somebody. Why would anybody want to settle for less than what they deserve? But you have people who do that all the time. And I tell you, it's just flat out ridiculous. Well, I really don't have much to say about that, except people need to take inventory on their priorities and find out exactly what a need really is, and whether or not what they think they need is what they actually need. Because chances are they may not need it. It's probably just more of a want, a desire, something that they have a craving for at that particular moment. But once that craving is past, or once it has been met some kind of way and satisfied, well, the need is no longer there. They can move on to something else. So you tell me what you think about that. Can you think of some things that perhaps you thought you needed in your life at one time, but you found out later on you didn't need? Later on down the road, it came to you that it wasn't anything you needed, but instead it was something that you just wanted. So that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Every need is not really a need. Now, I will say this and I'm going to go. We all need shelter. We need a roof over our head. But we don't necessarily need a 5-bedroom house or an 8-bedroom mansion. But we need a place to sleep. We need transportation, but we don't necessarily need a Lamborghini, or we don't need a Range Rover, or we don't need a Mercedes or anything like that, but we need something to get around in. We don't necessarily need a lot of stuff out here, that we see. And we certainly don't need to keep up with the Joneses, because the Joneses are catching enough hell trying to maintain what they have already. Now, we definitely don't need that. Trying to be like somebody else. So anyway, the only thing we need is to be ourselves and to be content with what we have during the time in which we have it. So this concludes this discussion. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in today to TJ's Topics. Look forward to seeing you again on the next go round, okay? I really do appreciate you being with me. This is Taryn Jerome Harris, reminding you that every round goes higher and higher. Hope your month of May is full of joy and happiness. Have a good one. Bye bye.